Frances Ethel and Frank Gamm, both vaudeville theater actors, welcomed their third child, a baby girl, on June 10, 1922. The family lived in a modest white frame house located on the outskirts of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Unfortunately, Frances' arrival did not bring her parents joy. They were already struggling to make ends meet, and the additional financial burden of another child was a cause for concern. Frances' parents were barely able to provide for their two existing children, and the prospect of supporting another was daunting. However, fate had other plans. Despite their initial reservations, Frances would go on to become the source of her family's fame and fortune. Ironically, it was the child that her parents were hesitant to welcome into the world that would ultimately provide them with the financial stability they so desperately sought. Before we go any further, please like, subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss a new video on the channel. Let's get started. At just 6 years old, Frances, along with her two sisters, was hired by a musical troupe, and they became known as the Gamm Sisters. Despite her young age, Frances, now known as Judy Garland, was pushed to perform by her mother, Ethel Gamm, to the point of exhaustion. When Frances' little body failed her, Ethel is rumored to have given her amphetamines to get her through the evening. This marked the beginning of Judy's addiction to amphetamines and sedatives, which would have tragic consequences later in life. During a performance in Los Angeles, Judy was spotted by agents from the renowned Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer (MGM) studio. The following day, she was summoned to meet with studio co-founder Louis B. Mayer, who was so impressed with her singing that he offered her a 7-year contract. This marked the beginning of Judy Garland's rise to becoming an international superstar, but it also came with significant personal cost. As part of the studio system in Hollywood, actors signed demanding and highly competitive contracts with major studios, and Judy was no exception. The studio treated her like a workhorse, allowing her to do schoolwork only in the mornings so that afternoons and evenings could be devoted to filmmaking. In addition, like her mother before her, the studio provided her with amphetamines. The studio's demands on Judy's body were intense, and her biography reports that the studio gave her and fellow actor Mickey Rooney amphetamines to keep them going long after they were exhausted. They were then given sleeping pills and woken up 4 hours later to receive amphetamines again, allowing them to work for 72 hours straight. This became a habitual way of life for Judy and her colleagues. In her first 2 years at MGM, Judy appeared in 8 films, but she was often referred to as the ugly duckling of the studio because she was usually cast alongside beauties like Elizabeth Taylor and Hedy Lamarr. To improve her appearance, the studio replaced her teeth and used rubber discs to change the shape of her nose. They even forced her to starve herself and eat only chicken soup and cheap coffee, along with cigarettes and diet pills, to make her face look thinner on screen. This strict regimen only made Judy's addiction worse, and by the time she achieved world fame with the release of The Wizard of Oz in 1939, she was already deeply addicted to drugs. The grueling demands placed on her by the studio system and the pressure to maintain a certain image on screen took a heavy toll on her mental and physical health. Garland's breakthrough role as Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz remains her most iconic performance, although it was not initially a commercial success. Nevertheless, her rendition of Over the Rainbow is now considered a classic of American cinema. Garland went on to star in several other successful films, including A Star is Born and The Nuremberg Trials, but her personal life was marred by numerous affairs and her struggle with addiction. By the late 1940s, her erratic behavior had become so problematic that MGM decided to terminate her contract, leading to a suicide attempt. Despite these setbacks, Garland continued to work in the entertainment industry, earning critical acclaim for her performances in A Star is Born and The Nuremberg Trials. However, her personal life continued to spiral out of control, leading to financial difficulties and ultimately her premature death at age 47. Despite these difficulties, Garland's legacy endures. The Wizard of Oz remains one of the most beloved films of all time, and Garland is still regarded as one of the greatest actresses of Hollywood's golden age. Her struggles serve as a cautionary tale about the exploitation of child labor and the dangers of drug addiction, but her fans choose to remember her for her immense talent and dedication to her craft. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share your thoughts with me, click like and subscribe. See you next time.